there, I'm Nadia Azmi and this is Nightline. These are the top stories. PM assures no cover-up in probe into FAM football forgery scandal. And body of man swept away by water surge near Saloma Link found in Shah Alam. Good morning. The Prime Minister has assured that there will be no attempt to conceal the findings of the investigation into the Football Association of Malaysia on allegations of document forgery involving 7 heritage players. Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim stressed that FIFA's criticism of FAM should not be taken lightly, but said the national football governing body must be given the opportunity to defend itself. Commenting on the FAM controversy during a media conference aboard a flight to Johannesburg, South Africa, where he will attend the G20 Leaders Summit, Anwar said the issue had been raised at a cabinet meeting.
It's a major issue to FAM. You see, we deliberated this length and we said no cover-up, go ahead. That has been our instruction, but then the process has to go. You know, we don't decide to act purely based on FIFA. We're not even disputing FIFA's credibility at this instance. But I think Hanayo's position is right. Let FAM defend themselves first.
He added that he understood the public's anger over the scandal, noting that people expect the government to take swift action.
I can understand people are impatient because we are not acting. It's beyond us, it's nothing to do. I mean, you must allow for FAM to defend themselves. And let the process go through.
Last September, FIFA's disciplinary committee fined FAM approximately 1.8 million ringgit over the issue. The 7 players were each fined 10,600 ringgit and suspended from all football activities for 12 months. In the Dewan Rakyat on Thursday, Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Yeoh outlined the actions already taken against FAM.
Buat masa ini saya nak nyatakan bagi pihak Kementerian Belia dan Sukan, kita akan pastikan buat masa ini kita tak akan tambah grant untuk mereka sehingga FAM menguruskan isu ini dengan baik untuk meyakinkan rakyat semula bahawa setiap dana yang diberikan dan digunakan oleh duit rakyat ada accountability.
She added that her ministry wants any applications for the naturalization of athletes or players by any sports association to be referred first to the National Sports Council before being submitted to the Home Ministry. At the same media conference, Anwar explained that, guided by the basic facts of the issue, he had already reprimanded his political secretary for his involvement in the controversy over a support letter for contractors bidding on a hospital project. He said this in response to calls for stern action to be taken against his aide.
Saya tidak setuju. Tapi apakah itu melanggar peraturan yang jelas? Apakah lulusan projek itu berdasarkan surat dia? Tidak. Sebab KSU tahu arahan penduduk. Jadi tegur, kita kena tegur lah. Tapi sama nak hukum atau tidak, ikut proses. Janganlah orang tak kita tak setuju. Kita minta ambil tindakan keras.
In another development, Anwar highlighted that the Madani government had been doing its best for Sabah since he took office more than 3 years ago. According to the Prime Minister, the enthusiasm showed by certain parties to play on state-based sentiments during the state election was not grounded in facts or reality. Anwar explained that Putrajaya is committed to resolving the basic issues affecting the people of Sabah, particularly water and electricity supply, as well as road infrastructure, which had previously been neglected.
Saya buat sedaya upaya saya. Soal api, ya. Dia minta serah balik, kita serah balik. Tak cukup wang, kita bagi 1.2 bilion ringgit. Kemudian kita minta soal supply gas, Petronas tolong. Ambil TNB. Jadi apa yang, walaupun itu bukan dari skop persekutuan, kerana dia ada badan elektrik dia sendiri.
Anwar added that the Madani government had approved significant allocations to ensure Sabah's development was on par with other states, including water supply projects to University Malaysia Sabah, which received 3 million ringgit in funding during his visit to the university last year. However, he expressed regret that certain parties in Sabah had exploited state-based sentiments to deflect attention from governance issues.
Saya tak timbul soal Sabah, Semenanjung, parti Sabah, parti Semenanjung. Parti yang boleh khidmat.
The Prime Minister later arrived in South Africa to begin his 4-day working visit to the country and to attend the G20 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg. Anwar's first agenda was a courtesy visit to South African President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa. During the meeting, he also congratulated South Africa for becoming the first country from the continent to hold the G20 presidency. According to Anwar, the G20's theme of solidarity, equity and sustainability aligns with Malaysia's priorities as ASEAN chair for 2025. Special focus was given to efforts to strengthen disaster resilience, debt stability and funding for a sustainable energy transition. The two leaders also reviewed the progress of bilateral relations following Ramaphosa's official visit to Putrajaya last October. Anwar added that Malaysia is ready to finalize several key documents, including Memoranda of Understanding on Economic and Industrial Cooperation, Halal Certification, Agriculture, Green Energy, Technology, Education and TVET. Earlier, the plane carrying Anwar and the Malaysian delegation landed at the Waterkloof Air Force Base in Pretoria on Friday at 12:38 a.m. Malaysia time. The Prime Minister was welcomed by Malaysia's High Commissioner to South Africa, Dato' Yubazlan Yusof, and other national leaders. Anwar was invited to the country as a guest of the South African president and in Malaysia's capacity as ASEAN chair for 2025. The visit also strategically strengthens the historic ties between Malaysia and South Africa. At a business forum with South African captains of industry in Johannesburg, Anwar said Malaysia can serve as a strategic gateway linking South Africa's industrial strength to Asia's markets, technologies and rapidly expanding value chains. The Prime Minister noted that South Africa is not only Malaysia's key partner in Africa, but also a strategic collaborator in shaping a more inclusive global economic future.
We are also committed to the effort to enhance regional and trade and also to penetrate new markets, as I think should be, which is already also the common strategy in South Africa. We have been very dependent on the trade and investments into Europe, the States, China, and East Asia. But now we realize that intra-ASEAN trade is particularly of importance. Similarly, the penetration into Latin American and African market.
He also highlighted South Africa's diversified industrial base, supported by strong logistics, sophisticated financial systems, and a skilled workforce, as providing an excellent foundation for deeper collaboration.
All countries have realized.
After 5 days of search and rescue operations, the body of the man swept away by strong currents near the Saloma Link on Monday was found 65 kilometers downstream along the Klang River. The body of K. Suresh was discovered at around 10:30 a.m. on Friday, floating near a rubbish trap along Sungai Kandis in Shah Alam. Dangwangi District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Sazali Adam said the remains were largely intact but showed signs of swelling with torn clothing and no footwear. He added that the victim could have drifted as far as Port Klang or even out to sea if not for the rubbish trap. The powerful currents triggered by Monday's surge are believed to have carried the victim a significant distance downstream.
Pengesahan kita dapat buat pada ketika itu melalui tatu yang ada di tangan mangsa yang tertulis nama mangsa sendiri, selain daripada pengecaman secara fizikal oleh ahli keluarga mangsa.
Search efforts were hampered by the strong currents and thick vegetation along the riverbank, making it difficult for teams to navigate and locate the victim. The victim was one of 13 workers carrying out repair works along the Klang River when the surge hit late Monday afternoon, with the 12 others rescued safely. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission has summoned 16 witnesses to assist in a probe into enforcement agency offices over alleged bribes received to accelerate foreign worker applications under the Labour Recalibration Programme or RTK. According to sources, the graft-busters are still identifying company agents linked to the case, and the investigation papers are expected to be completed by mid-December. The probe is focused on offences under the MACC Act, namely soliciting or accepting bribes and offering or giving bribes. The investigation also covers the possession of property obtained through bribes and public servants receiving valuable items without consideration from those with official dealings with them. On November 12th, the MACC's Intelligence Division detained 10 enforcement agency officers and a retired agency official under Op Bleach for allegedly accepting bribes to expedite foreign worker applications under the RTK program. Op Bleach is a follow-up operation by MACC targeting syndicates involved in counter-setting activities at the country's entry points. When contacted, MACC Intelligence Division Senior Director Datuk Saiful Ezra Arifin confirmed the investigation. A fire erupted at Sekolah Kebangsaan Baling on Friday morning, destroying 4 classrooms and a school office. Fortunately, no injuries were reported as there were no classes in session at the time of the blaze.
SK Baling terbakar.
Nearby residents spotted thick smoke billowing from the roof of the 2-story block and alerted the authorities at around 10:46 a.m. About 32% of the affected block was damaged, including the 4 upper-floor classrooms. The fire is believed to have started in the school office. The only staff member on duty at the time is also the sole eyewitness to the incident. Following the blaze, Works Minister Datuk Seri Alexander Nantalinggi said his ministry will work closely with the Education Ministry and other agencies on repair work and additional safety measures. A technical team from the Public Works Department has also been deployed to conduct a preliminary assessment of structural damage and building safety. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Bank Negara Malaysia's international reserves rose to $124.1 billion as at November 14, 2025, reaching an 11-year high. According to the central bank's latest update on Friday, the figure was slightly higher than the $123.8 billion recorded as at October 31, 2025, a modest gain in foreign currency assets and valuation adjustments. The reserves are now at their strongest level since 2014. BNM said the reserves are sufficient to finance 4.8 months of imports of goods and services and cover 0.9 times the country's short-term external debt. The total assets of BNM's international reserves amounted to $617.8 billion, reflecting strong external financial buffers to support Malaysia's trade and financial stability. Malaysia's crude palm oil CPO production for 2025 is expected to exceed last year's output, with projections indicating output could surpass 19.5 million tonnes, up from 19.3 million tonnes in 2024. Malaysian Palm Oil Board MPOB Chairman Datuk Muhammad Helmi Othman Basha said although the year had yet to come to an end, current estimates point to higher national CPO production that is also supported by favourable prices. The final export data will be announced in January during the MPOB's annual review and outlook conference once full-year data becomes available. The MPOB also noted that Malaysia's CPO production is expected to rise this year despite several ongoing challenges faced by the industry. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's cabinet approved a 21.3 trillion yen or $135.4 billion economic stimulus package on Friday, marking the first major policy initiative under the new leader, who has pledged to pursue expansionary fiscal measures. The package includes general account outlays of $110 billion, representing the largest stimulus since the COVID pandemic. It will also include $17 billion in tax cuts. The package will be funded by an expected rise in overall tax revenue, reflecting inflation, as well as an additional issuance of government bonds. The size of the additional government bond issuance has yet to be finalized, but is expected to be larger than the $43 billion issued for last year's stimulus. The cabinet plans to approve a supplementary budget to fund the package as early as November 28, aiming to secure parliamentary approval by the end of the year. Two killed after lorry plunges into ravine and catches fire. More from the local after this short break.
Apa kata kalau kita pergi Ipoh?
Melaka dengan Johor pun best juga.
Spek siapa yang tertinggal ni? Pandai ambil lah.
Tayalah Ustaz, minggu ini Isnin keluarga berperanan. Selasa, kuduah dalam solat berjemaah. Rabu, saat semua dihimpunkan. Khamis, sang pemuda contoh. Jumaat, rezeki tanpa sedar. Sabtu, buta tanpa ilmu. Ahad, ampunan dalam Islam. Tayalah Ustaz, biar tahu jangan keliru di TV3 dan TV9, stream juga ditonton.
Dia ni dia fast learner. Dia ambil kira apa yang kita pesan.
Dia jenis susah nak aku kalah. Kalau nak kalah tu dia tak puas hati lah.
Paling happy masa saya kat Jakarta. Saya tak nak putus asa.
Saya cek dalam Google, tak pernah orang dalam dunia lagi satu budak guna kasut paku.
Saya dapat Malaysia Book of Record menggunakan kasut paku.
Saya tengok semangat anak saya suruh agak dia boleh capai dia punya target.
They said, be yourself, yet try to reduce us to labels. Now it's time to rewrite the rules.
Do it for yourself, not for anyone else.
When you cultivate that relationship with yourself, you will start to realize what standards you have, and it'll start to give you a lot more clarity as to who deserves to be in your life.
Saturdays 5 p.m. only on TV3. Stream now on Tonton. Welcome back. In Johor, a Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency or MMEA employee pleaded not guilty at the Sessions Court in Johor Bahru to 10 counts of bribery amounting to 4,300 ringgit. Muhammad Azizi Kamali, 40, who is attached to the Kedah and Perlis MMEA headquarters, is accused of accepting bribes of 4,300 ringgit 3 years ago from the owner of a company. He entered his plea before Sessions Court Judge Dato Ahmad Kamal Arifin Ismail. The money was allegedly transferred online from a woman's bank account into the accuser's bank account between February 3, 2022 and January 12, 2023. Azizi was charged under the Penal Code for accepting something of value without consideration from a person connected to his official duties as a civil servant. The offence carries a maximum jail term of 2 years or a fine or both upon conviction. The court allowed bail at 10,000 ringgit with one surety and set December 22nd for re-mention. Two people were burned to death after a lorry plunged into a ravine and burst into flames in Kota Tinggi, Johor. Firefighters recovered the driver's remains shortly after extinguishing the blaze on Thursday night, while the second victim was found on Friday afternoon during works to lift the lorry from the ravine. Kota Tinggi District Police Chief Superintendent Yusof Othman said officers received an emergency call about the incident along kilometre 26 of Jalan Lok Heng Mawai at around 4:35 p.m. on Thursday. Initial investigations suggest the lorry skidded before veering off the road, then fell into the ravine and caught fire. The driver, 38-year-old R. Sasitaran, suffered extensive burns and died at the scene. His body was sent to the Kota Tinggi Hospital Forensics Unit for further examination. Shortly after the first victim was found, police were informed by the victim's family that another person had been in the vehicle. The second victim, the driver's adopted sister, who was travelling as a passenger, was discovered at about 4:30 p.m. on Friday once the wreckage was lifted from the ravine. Authorities have confirmed that no other vehicles were involved in the crash. In Sabah, 2 men were killed and another injured after a lorry carrying eggs skidded and overturned by the roadside in Keningau on Friday. The incident occurred at Kampung Bariawa Ulu at around 9 a.m. The 58-year-old driver, Awang Damit Kahar, died at the scene, while the identities of the other 2 men, including the second fatality, have not yet been confirmed. The injured victim managed to exit the vehicle before rescue teams arrived and was taken to hospital for treatment. The 2 men who died were trapped under the truck's cab and chassis. Their bodies were extricated by the Keningau Fire and Rescue Team and handed to the police for further action. Magnitude 5.5 earthquake hits Bangladesh. The details when Nightline returns.
Kadang rasa macam saya sakit ni jadi macam beban untuk orang lain. Setiap kali dia masuk hospital pun paling sekejap pun 2 minggu. So kita nak kena ulang alik tu kadang-kadang memang tak ada masa lah untuk anak-anak yang kecil-kecil ni. Macam terfikir-fikirlah kenapa saya je yang dapat sakit ni. Kenapa saya je yang kena hadap benda ni, kenapa orang lain tak ada. Sekarang nak makan benda-benda pun takut gula tu tinggi.
Seorang ayah ataupun seorang suami mana yang tak nak tengok keluarga dia happy pagi betul. Macam tu saya akan selama ni pun saya usaha untuk dapatkan benda tu. Untuk bagi anak bini saya selesa. Saya boleh kata saya letak harapan yang tinggi lah untuk dia sihat balik.
Sekolah baliklah, belajar balik semua yang dah terlepas. Cepat sihat, nak hidup balik macam dulu, macam biasa. Saya nak cepat besar, nak kerja dan tolong mama, adik-adik lain.
Tak yalah Ustaz, minggu ini Isnin keluarga berperanan. Selasa, kuduah dalam solat berjemaah. Rabu, saat semua dihimpunkan. Khamis, sang pemuda contoh. Jumaat, rezeki tanpa sedar. Sabtu, buta tanpa ilmu. Ahad, ampunan dalam Islam. Tak yalah Ustaz, biar tahu jangan keliru di TV3 dan TV9, stream juga ditonton.
Baca doa dulu. Allah Akbar, lupa. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma aftahli abwaba rahmatika. Ya Allah, bukakanlah pintu-pintu rahmatmu untuk kami. Amin ya rabbal alamin.
Lagi satu jangan lupa, kita kena niat iktikaf dulu. Okey. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nawaitu li'iktikaf fil hazal masjid lillahi ta'ala. Sahaja aku beriktikaf dalam masjid ni kerana Allah Ta'ala. Baru boleh masuk. Ini tak lupa. Jom.
Sorry lah.
Welcome back. At least 5 people were killed and around 100 injured when a powerful earthquake struck Bangladesh near the densely populated capital Dhaka on Friday. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the magnitude 5.5 quake hit at 10:38 a.m. local time near the city of Narsingdi. Local television reported a higher death toll of at least 6, including 3 people killed when a building's roof and wall collapsed and 3 pedestrians struck by falling railings. The injured included students from Dhaka University, factory workers in the city of Ghazipur, and residents of Narsingdi. Tremors were also felt in eastern states in neighbouring India that border Bangladesh, but there were no immediate reports of major damage there. At least 16 people were killed and 7 injured in a massive explosion at a glue factory in Pakistan. The blast occurred at about 5 a.m. local time on Friday in the Malitpur area of Faisalabad, west of Lahore in Punjab province. Officials said the blast was so powerful that it destroyed the factory building, damaged several nearby homes and sparked a massive fire that sent panic through the area. Early investigations indicate that a gas leak in the factory's chemical warehouse triggered the explosion. Authorities arrested the factory manager but are still searching for the owner, who fled shortly after the incident. Japanese local authorities on Friday approved the restart of the world's biggest nuclear plant for the first time since the 2011 Fukushima disaster. Niigata Governor Hideo Hanazumi, whose prefecture hosts the Kashiwazaki Kariwa nuclear plant, said he would approve its restart, though final authorization must still come from Japan's nuclear regulator. The Kashiwazaki Kariwa plant will be the first restart for Fukushima operator TEPCO after the disaster, once it gets final approval. The plant has remained offline since Japan halted nuclear operations following the 2011 Fukushima Daiichi meltdown triggered by a tsunami. In other news, southern Thailand's Patalung province has been severely affected by flash floods after continuous heavy rain, with 10 districts, 47 sub-districts and 242 villages now submerged. Officials said as of Friday, floods have affected 33,384 people across 12,753 households, with water still standing in many areas. Runoff from the Bantat mountain range, particularly from Papon, Tamot, Kongra, Srinagarindra, Sibanpot and Papayom districts, continue to flow through waterfalls into the main canals. This has led to widespread flooding of farmlands, residential areas and key inter-village roads. Local authorities and emergency teams are continuing to monitor water levels and prepare further evacuation if rainfall persists. A pilot was killed after an Indian fighter jet crashed while performing a display at an airshow in Dubai. The HAL Tejas, a combat aircraft, crashed just after 2 p.m. local time on Friday during a demonstration for a crowd of spectators at Dubai World Central, where the last day of the airshow was underway. The Indian Air Force confirmed that the pilot died from his injuries and said an investigation has been launched to determine the cause of the crash. Earlier, the incident triggered blaring sirens across Al Maktoum International Airport, where the biennial aviation event is expected to draw about 150,000 visitors this year. Turning to sports now, badminton and the 2025 Australian Open. Two national pairs maintain their strong form by advancing to the semi-finals of the Super 500 tournament in Sydney on Friday. Professional men's doubles pair Goh Zefei and Noor Izzuddin Rumsani were pushed to the limit before defeating the South Korean-Malaysian combination of Choi Soo-gyu and Goh Vishem 21-13, 20-22, 22-20 in a grueling 69-minute quarter-final. The second-seeded Malaysians will next face unseeded Indonesians Raymond Indra and Nicholas Joaquin, who upset Malaysia's third-seeded Man Wei Chong and Thi Kai Woon. Also through to the semi-finals were mixed doubles world champions Chen Tang-ji and To Yi-wei, who lived up to their top-seeded billing by claiming their fourth win in 5 meetings over Taiwanese duo Yi Hong-wei and Nicole Gonzalez-Chan 21-17, 21-15. Up next, the world number 4 pair will play Thailand's Pak Kapon Thi Raratsakul and Sap Siri Te Ratanachai in the semi-finals. Earlier, Wei Chong and Kai Woon's campaign came to an end as they fell 15-21, 21-19, 15-21 to Indra and Joaquin. Squash now, the 2025 Indian Open. National #1 player Ng Ian Yao's strong run came to a dramatic end in the quarterfinals in Indore on Thursday. Despite a hard-fought battle, world number 14 Ian Yao went down 11-8, 10-12, 11-5, 9-11, 13-15 to Egypt's Yahya El Nawasani in an 86-minute match. This marks the first time that Ian Yao has lost to El Nawasani after winning both of their previous meetings at the 2019 Egyptian Open and the 2024 China Open. Ian Yao will now turn his attention to the Hong Kong Open next week. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at visuals from a new Los Angeles exhibition of Robert Thierry's work, featuring towering stacks of oversized plates and giant-scale furniture. With that, I'm Nadia Azmi. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.